Okay, so our first question was a polygon question linked to our angles. And the first thing that we read when we are looking at this question is regular. Now, regular should trigger a formula triangle, which really helps with these questions. So that is 360, and we've got exterior and sides. So I've been told it's a regular pentagon. Pentagon is a 5-sided shape. So I'm going to do 360 divided by 5, which is going to give me 72 for the exterior. So let's mark that on. When we see it on the diagram like that, it's really easy to see the interior is going to be 108. Now, it's regular. That means all the angles inside the pentagon are 108. So if we go into that corner where it's busy and where the X is, we know that the whole thing is 108. Now we can concentrate on the parallelogram that they gave us. Opposite angles of parallelograms are equal. So the opposite angle is 117. Quadrilaterals add up to 360. So 360, take away those two 117s, gives me 126. I need to share the 126 by 2, and that is going to give me 63. Okay, so I can see that I wrote 112 instead of 126. Why? I do not know. So I've left it in deliberately because this is the type of stuff we do. Even people with maths degrees, we can do really crazy things sometimes. I know it's a big ask when we say, take your time, be careful, check everything, but you can see why that's so important. Fortunately for me, I have got 63, which is the correct number. So I'm now going to take my 108 for the whole corner there, take the 63 off, and I've got 45 degrees. Okay, the next question is another angles question. This time we've been told that we've got an equilateral triangle, and that should automatically tell us that the angles are 60 degrees. So we can mark that onto our diagram. We can then use the straight line that they've made a point of telling us about to find that that's 120. Now we are being asked to give reasons, so it's really sensible to do that as you go. That 60 is there because of the equilateral triangle. That 120 is there because straight lines equal 180. So get that information on. We're now going to do 180, take away the 120 and the 25, and that will give us our X as 35 degrees. Our reason is because angles in a triangle add up to 180. Okay, next question is mass, density, volume. So we set our formula triangle up, and then we see that for volume, we're going to be doing mass divided by density. So the mass is 12.5 kilograms, and the density is 19.3 grams per centimeters cubed. Now, I wouldn't normally put the units into the maths, but in this case, I wanted to really highlight the fact that we've got different units. So they've embedded an extra level of difficulty here, and it's easy to miss. They have to both be grams if this is going to work. So I'm going to change my kilograms into grams by timesing through by 1,000. That will give me 12,500 over my 19.3. And then I can just pop that into my calculator, and I've got 647.668. Rounded to 3 significant figures is 648. Okay, now this question's pretty full on. If we're going to find the total area of the shaded part of this diagram, what we're going to need to do is find the area of the circle and take away the area of the square. That will leave us, it's like you've punched the square out of the circle, and that will leave us a shaded bit. Now, the area of the square is fairly straightforward. They've told us the edge is 8, so it's going to be 8 times 8, which is 64. But to find the area of a circle, we need the radius because the formula is pi r squared. To help me find the radius, I've got 8, and that's it. So I'm going to take the diameter. I'm going to take this triangle. It's got my 8 and it's got my diameter. And if I can find the diameter, I can just half it for my radius. So the triangle is right angled. It's got 8 on 2 of its edges. I want to find the third. So this is Pythagoras. I am going to do 8 squared plus 8 squared, which gives me 128. And then I square root that 128 to find my diameter. But remember, I don't actually want the diameter. I want the radius. So I'm going to take my root 128 and divide it through by 2 so that I have my radius. When I put that in my calculator, it gives me 5.656 and on that goes. Really try not to round too much until the very end. So the area of my circle, which is pi r squared, is going to be pi times 5.656 squared. Get that in the calculator and you get the result 100.530. Not on and on it goes. So I'm going to take that result. I'm going to take away the area of the square that we found earlier, 64, and that is going to give me my shaded 36.53, and on it goes to 3 significant figures. That is 36.5. Okay, our last question. We've got a ratio question where we need to work out the percentage that Laura gets. They've told us that Kim and Molly share their ratio in 2 to 5. But they're also telling us that Kim gets less than Molly. If we look at that in the ratio, then Kim gets 3 less. But in the question, it's 105. So we set that up and work out how we get from 3 to 105, which is times by 35. So we're going to times through the other side, and that is going to give us 70 and 175. We need to know what Laura gets. So 385, take away what we've worked out for Kim and Molly, will give Laura 140. So Laura gets 140 out of 385. That's a fraction. We want it as a percentage. So we're going to times through by 100, which is going to give us 36.36, on it goes. So we're going to round to 36.4. Now, this question doesn't actually tell us how it wants to round. So I've done it to 1 decimal place. You might have done it to a whole number, 36%. Either would get you the marks. If they haven't made it clear, then they're going to allow for that in the mark scheme.